Hi, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to our Steelers Nation Unite Huddle presented by Hyundai. I'm Missy Matthews, and we are honored to be joined today live on our call by Team President Art Rooney II. If you would like to ask him a question during the call today, we're going to get to as many fan questions as we can. Please press *3. But Mr. Rooney, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's great to be with all our Steelers Nation Unite fans and members.
All right, we have a ton of questions coming in. Again, please press *3 if you would like to ask a question. Our first one is going to be from Robert. You are now live, Robert. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. I hope you're having a good
Robert.
day, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Well, thanks, Robert.
I know that there are things that are not within the control of the Steelers, but they do affect the Steelers, and us fans are very, very upset about how things have been happening. And we want to know, how is it going to happen that there's going to be a regulation made to show that this is a catch and this is not a catch? It needs to be simplified because it's easier for everyone to see that the teams are dancing and not getting penalized in their celebrations, but then we can't get a touchdown.
Yeah, Robert, I think that there is a pretty strong chance that it's going to be addressed this year. I know Coach Tomlin, who's on the competition committee, thinks there needs to be an adjustment, and I've heard the commissioner say publicly that he thinks there needs to be an adjustment. So, you know, I think we're going to see a change of some sort to the rule this year, and I agree with you. I think that it needs to be simplified and really, err on the side of it being called a catch, to be honest with you. Hello there. Do we have another caller on?
Angela, can you hear us? You're now live. You can ask Mr. Rooney your question.
Hi. I was just calling. I wanted to know how is Ryan Shazier doing.
Well, thanks for calling, Angela. I'm happy to report that Ryan is making a lot of progress, and really he is just an amazing person. How he has faced the adversity that he's had to deal with over the last couple of months, but he's been making a lot of progress. I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures that got posted of him last week at the Penguins game, standing and waving to the crowd, and so I know he's pleased with the progress, and he's working hard. He was released from the hospital a couple of weeks ago, so now he's doing his rehab as an outpatient. And he comes in here into the facility just about every day and does a workout and and helps the coaches with some of their preparation. So he's a busy man.
All right, our next question is from Bill. Bill, you are now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hello, Mr. Rooney. It's very nice to talk with you.
Thanks for calling, Bill.
No problem. I just wanted to see if you were going to continue to wear a patch honoring your father and possibly something to honor your grandfather on the jerseys. Continue to do that after this past season.
You know, Bill, I don't think we'll be doing that. We do have plans to to have a location in the stadium where they both will continue to be recognized. But we probably won't continue to wear a patch on the jersey.
All right, next we are going to James. You are now live, James. Go ahead and ask Mr. Rooney your question, please.
Oh, Mr. Rooney, pleasure to speak to you. I was just wondering how
James.
felt about. I was wondering how you thoughts were on the 3 big salaries we can resign Le'Veon. What do you think that's going to hamstring us on the salary cap in the future, or we'll be able to take care of that?
Well, James, every year is a new challenge, and I always say it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, trying to make everything work under the salary cap. And we're lucky that we have 3 players that like Ben and Le'Veon and Antonio Brown, and so they're kind of players that command a large salary, and so we're just going to have to do our best to make it all work. We're fortunate, I would say, to have a number of players, including a number of guys on the offensive line who are fairly high-paid players, and to be honest, that's what you want. You want the best players on your team, and so it's always a challenge, but hopefully we'll be able to manage our way through it.
All right, very quickly, we have a poll question for you, the fans, today. We want to know, where do you most often look for information from Steelers Nation Unite? If you get it through our SNU emails, please press 1. If it's on SteelersNationUnite.com, press 2. Press 3 if you find it on Steelers.com, and press 4 if it's through our various social media platforms. But back to your questions. Let's head out to California. Lou, you are now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hello?
Hello, Lou.
Yes, Mr. Rooney. I was wondering, in this year's draft, what will the Steelers be concentrating on to get us ready for next year?
Well, Lou, it's a little early to narrow it down too much. As you may know, our coaches and scouts are really somewhat at the beginning of the process here of analyzing the draft and analyzing the free agent situation. So we have a lot of work to do. We'll have the combine coming up in Indianapolis in about 2 weeks now, and so it'll be a busy few months here. I would say just in the early going here, we're probably going to have to pick some guys on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, we need to be strong on the defense as well as the offense. So I'm sure we'll pick players on both sides of the ball, but I would guess at this point that we'll probably be a little heavier on the defensive side.
All right, our next question is from Gabriel. You are now live. Go ahead and ask Mr. Rooney your question, please.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. This is Gabriel calling from Cincinnati. I got a big question. I'm from Mexico. Any news you have for the Mexican Steelers fans? The Steelers can play in Mexico City on the next years. They already have this game set up, but they have 3 more years contract with the NFL. I hear last year that you were interested to do that, but you need to find out something with the city of Pittsburgh about having a home team game in Mexico City. I don't know if you have something new.
Gabriel, we're working on it. Would like to go down there and play a game for all the fans we have down in Mexico, which we're lucky to have a great following down in Mexico. So it's something that we have let the league know that we'd like to play a game in Mexico in the near future, and they have told us that they're working on it for us. So my guess is it's going to happen here in the next couple of years. So thanks for asking about it.
All right, and very quickly, we want to let you know our keyword for today's huddle is Steelers. So you can head to SteelersNationUnite.com following the huddle and enter the keyword Steelers to earn your extra yards for joining us this afternoon. Back to your questions, however, let's go to Charles. You are now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yes, Mr. Rooney, how you doing?
Hey, Charles, how are you? Thanks for calling today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I just wanted to ask, how many more years do you think Ben will play, and how soon will we look for a quarterback that will eventually take his place, or do we think Joshua Dobbs will be that quarterback?
Charles, it's a great question. I would say that we are certainly hoping and expecting that Ben can play a few more years. I had a conversation with him after the season, and he was talking about playing maybe 3 or 4 more years. And, we felt like this past season he certainly didn't show any signs of slowing down. So we're optimistic about him being able to play a few more years. As far as who would come after him, it's hard to predict at this point. But, you mentioned Josh Dobbs, who we drafted last year. And Josh came in and really made a lot of progress as a rookie, and so if he keeps making progress like that over the next few years, you never know. He may wind up being somebody that can play, but it's a little early to make a prediction. That's for sure.
All All right, our next question is from Lucy in Michigan. Lucy, you're now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. So happy to speak with you. Happy Valentine's.
Thanks for calling, Lucy.
I'm been a Pittsburgh fan for a long time, and I'm just wondering, do you have, do they have any kind of set rules on, nutrition and diet and anything like that during the season? I mean, I've heard so many things about different things that players eat. I know they have to have high calorie, but I'm just wondering if there's any kind of set thing that the coaching staff or, anybody on the staff works with them on that.
Yeah, Lucy, we have a nutritionist who's on our staff and helps plan our meals with our trainers and conditioning coaches. So a lot of work goes into that these days, and I think the first thing we try to do is make sure we get the bad stuff off the menu, and so our training table is probably as healthy a place as you can eat in the city of Pittsburgh these days. And so we do spend a lot of time on it, and our guys have access to our trainers and our nutritionists just so they can learn what a good diet is, particularly when they're not here on the premises.
All right, we have a ton of online questions as well, so we want to get to one of those, Mr. Rooney. This one is from Doug. He said, what insight can you give us non-Pittsburgher Steelers fans about what it's like around the stadium on game days?
Well, I tell you what, I think the atmosphere around Heinz Field and the city on game day is pretty special, and I would put it up there against any city in the NFL. I think it's being here in Pittsburgh on a game day is pretty exciting, and I've gotten comments from from people with some of the other teams when they come to town. They're kind of amazed that the whole town turns black and gold on game day, and so. It's just very exciting, and hopefully you can make it in and attend a game someday.
All right, our next question is coming from Tim. You are now live, Tim. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure talking with you, Mr. Rooney. I'd just like to thank you guys and your family for running such an outstanding organization.
Well, thanks, Tim. Thanks for calling.
I got two questions. One, will we be doing anything in the way of throwbacks for this season? And two, one of my questions was answered, but I kind of thought that Ben was going to play shorter than longer. So were you surprised that Ben indicated that he wanted to play longer?
Well, Tim, let me start with the first question. We are going to wear a new throwback jersey this year, and so we're going to probably be unveiling that sometime this spring, and look forward to having our fans see that here pretty soon, the next couple months probably. As far as the length of time that Ben's going to play, it's great to hear him talk about playing for a number of years, and we certainly feel like he can do that, and we just have to make sure we continue to protect him and run the kind of offense that we've been running, which has been pretty effective. So we're optimistic about that.
All right, our next question is from Robert in New Jersey. You're now live, Robert. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. How are you, sir?
Hey, Robert. Thanks for calling.
I just wanted a pleasure it is to represent the Steeler Nation here in New Jersey. We come out to Pittsburgh every year for the playoffs, and you're 100% right. There is no better place on game day. But my question for you is, given all the offensive talent that we have, how do you feel, or what do you feel needs to be addressed that we could be more effective in the red zone this year?
Robert, it's a good question, and I do agree. I think we need to be more effective in the red zone, and really with the with the firepower we have, I think we can be. I think we're going to have a new offensive coordinator this year, and we'll make a few changes to try to address that. Obviously, having all of our guys on the field at the same time, if we can stay healthy, I think, will be pretty tough to defend. I mean, we can be an effective running team with Le'Veon and the offensive line, and by the same token, we've got quite a number of receivers. So I think we do need to get better there, and I think we will be, hopefully this year.
All right, our next question is from Terry in Chicago. You're now live, Terry. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Rooney. How are you, sir?
Hey, Terry, thanks for calling.
Hi, lifelong Steeler fan, born in Newcastle, Pennsylvania in '66, and just wanted to reach out. I follow the Steelers very close, being a life member. Just very interested in what you enjoy. I mean, obviously the business. I own my own business. But what do you most enjoy about your position with the Steelers?
Well, thanks for that question, Terry. And I consider myself lucky to have been able to be part of Steelers football my whole life, and been a part of a lot of different great events. Obviously, winning some championships and really being around some great players and great coaches. It's been been a blessing, and just being around on game day with the players and the fans, that's my favorite day of the week and my favorite part of the year. And it's we were talking to one of the callers earlier about the atmosphere on game day. It's pretty exciting, and so that probably would be my favorite thing.
All right, we have a ton of online questions as well, so we want to get to another one of those. And this one, Mr. Rooney, is from Ross. He said, how close do you think the defense is to be able to win a championship?
Well, I would hope that we're pretty close, Ross. I think the last two seasons, we've had pretty strong regular seasons, and then didn't quite get as far as we'd like in the postseason. But as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason to think we can't get back to the postseason next year, and we do have to add some players to the defense, and we'll be looking at that here in the off season. Like I mentioned before, the coaches and the scouts are hard at work here, analyzing the draft and analyzing free agency, and so we'll be looking for the opportunities to get stronger on defense, as well as trying to help our younger players who are already with us to continue to improve and develop. We've got some good young talent on defense that we think can continue to improve.
All right, we have time for just two more questions. The next one is coming from Cheryl in Washington. You're now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hello, Mr. Rooney. It's a real honor to get to speak to you. I've been a long time.
Thanks for calling, Cheryl.
Going on 50 years in Seahawk country now, it's kind of hard to be a Steeler fan. But with our new
hang in there.
With the new offensive coordinator that's coming in, how do you think this will improve the Steelers with their offense? We had a few stumbles this year. Overall, strong team, but like always, need just a little improvement.
I agree, Cheryl. We can always improve, and I think, there are a number of areas where we've looked at and talked about, getting better at. Being better in the red zone, I think, is something we need to be more consistent with. Being more consistent with our third down conversions is something that I think we can identify as a goal in terms of how we get better. So I know our coaches, our new offensive coordinator, Randy Fietner, has been working hard already with the new offensive staff, and they're looking at ways we can improve. So we'll be working hard at it, and hopefully we'll see the results in the 2018 season.
All right, and one final time, just a reminder about our poll question for you today. We want to know, where do you most often look for information from Steelers.com? If you get it through our emails, please press 1. If it's through Steelers Nation Unite, press 2. Press 3 if it's on Steelers.com, and press 4 if it's on social media. Time for one last question. All the way from the UK, our good friend Gordon. You are now live with Mr. Rooney. Please ask your question.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Rooney from the United Kingdom. Thank you.
Gordon, thanks for calling from the United Kingdom tonight.
Thank you for you and the team for your yet another exciting season. That was marvellous. What do you believe
hopefully we'll do
the
better next year.
Hopefully, yes. What do you believe the organisation needs to do to get to the final level?
You know, Gordon, we've talked about a number of things here on the call today. You know, on offense, there are a couple of things I think we've identified that we'd like to improve on, and then on defense, you know, I would say on both sides of the ball, we need to be more consistent. You know, as our fans know, last year there were some games where we were kind of soft against the run, and you know, that's not Steeler football or Steeler defense, and so. I think we got to start with making sure that we're strong against the run, and you know, try and put the other team in a passing situation where you know, we can get after the quarterback, which, you know, this year we were pretty close to leading the league in sacks, and so that's one of the strengths of our defense that we need to continue to capitalize on. But you know, I think we're working on identifying the areas that we need to improve on, and number one, being consistent on both sides of the ball is something that I think we can do.
All right. Well, we want to thank everyone for joining us today on the Huddle presented by Hyundai. Don't forget the keyword is Steelers. So head to SteelersNationUnite.com to enter the keyword Steelers to earn your extra yards. Thank you for your time, and thank you, Mr. Rooney, for your time as well. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Missy, and thanks to all our fans with Steelers Nation Unite.
All right, that's going to do it for the Huddle presented by Hyundai. We'll see you next time. Have a great night, everybody.